In the last 12 months, I've bought 4 businesses, and some of them have been multi-million pound turnover companies. I've learned a thing or two about buying companies over my career, and in this video, I'm going to share all with you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. There is one thing that I know for certain. Buying companies is the fastest way to increase your wealth, and once you know how, it's so simple, it becomes addictive. Before we jump in, this video is sponsored by Revolut Business. If you run a business and want an easier way to manage team spending, this is worth a look. And there's a £200 welcome bonus available too. That's what I use in my companies. I'll explain more shortly. If you've just discovered me, I'm an entrepreneur here in the UK. I've got over 2,000 staff doing tens of millions of revenue each and every single year. I've grown businesses organically from the very beginning, bit by bit, growing. And I've bought lots of companies. I've probably bought 30 businesses by now. I've been knocked a couple of times, but mostly it's gone spectacularly well. And here's the big hope I have for this video, that you can swipe and deploy my ideas. I want to give you some golden nuggets so that you can go out there and do the same. I've tracked everything. Property, stocks and shares, even cryptocurrencies. I've looked at it all in my quest for wealth creation. Nothing, in my opinion, comes close to buying a well-oiled machine that's tried, tested and proven. And that's what I want to talk about in this business video. The 4 companies that I've bought over the last 12 months, 3 have been so predictable, so amazing for generating cash flow, generating profitability, bringing in amazing talented team, that it would take me probably 20 years to achieve what I did at the signing of a piece of paper. Now, one of them was a business that went into administration. I've done lots of those deals as well. And I bought the company out of administration and I'm going to get to retrade it. So those 4 types of businesses, I'm going to break them down what they are later on in the video. But before we do that, here's a starter for 10 in buying companies. First things first, is the quickest way to grow your business. You know, you've got a £1 million business and you want to grow it to a £10 million business. You might be on a 10, 15-year journey to do that. You might even find that's multi-generational. Granddad started the business, dad took it over. You're the 3rd generation trying to grow the business to the next level. I've added 2 10 million plus revenue businesses into our ecosystem at the signing of a contract. Just see how powerful that is. And it's the fastest way to recruit top talent into your business. So when I'm looking at businesses, I think a lot of people are thinking, well, I'm buying a business because I'm going to get the profit. I want that profit. I'm going to buy it as an investment. But actually, a lot of the time when I'm buying companies, I'm thinking about what's the talent that's in that company that I can leverage into my existing businesses. I've had to finance them in a variety of ways. Look, you know, I've got a £50 million plus organisation. A lot of people will think, well, James, with that, it must be easier just to rock up to the bank and say, hey, Mr. Bank Manager, I'd like another £1 million to do this and £1 million to do that. Oh, no. And I know people that are far ahead of me. And unless they've got a big war chest of cash themselves, it isn't super quick to get a loan over the line. It takes time. So I try and find creative ways to buy businesses and then 6, 9, 12 months down the line, then bring the bank in at that point so I can get things done at speed. So I'm going to be breaking all of that down in this video. The facts are that only 5% of businesses get to their 10-year anniversary. So I'm looking to buy old, established businesses, because if you buy something that's over 10 years old, you've got a top 5% chance of it carrying on. We call this the Lindy effect. Look at Harrods. You know, it's been around for a couple of 100 years. Without seeing the books, do you think Harrods is going to be around in another couple of 100 years? If you buy a 25-year-old established business, before you've even looked at the books, if it's known in the zeitgeist of the local community or indeed nationally in the country, you know that's a very powerful thing because it's been around a long time. You know, we're filming this in my 500-year-old hotel. There's a good chance that this is going to be around in another couple of 100 years. And the last thing, the most exciting thing about buying companies is you can solve pain that you've got in your existing business. One of the companies that I bought this year solved so much pain for me. We didn't have enough revenue. We didn't know how to do this. We didn't have the talent. And by buying this company, we just got rid of all that. We solved all of our problems at the signing of a contract. That is why it's so powerful. So the first business I bought in my 12-month stint is a company called Cafe Deli Wholesale. Now, to just give you some context, we make ice cream and we buy around £1.5 million worth of food and drink for all of our businesses, like the hotel we're in now, all of our day nurseries, our farm visitor attractions. So we're buying lots of drinks, foods and ice cream. Now, I bought this ice cream company because I thought, well, hey, we can sell our own ice cream. that sort of works. But what I didn't realise about being a food entrepreneur is that it's a transport first business. You could sell or create the best food product in the world, but if you haven't got distribution, you might as well go home. It is all about transport. And so I bought 3 or 4 freezer vans. We didn't have the volume. It was a bloody nightmare. We were not good on stock control. We just didn't have the knowledge. We didn't have the profitability. We didn't have the scalability. And what I learned was people were very habitual to their current providers. You want to build a business like Netflix where people don't just leave you straight away. They just get into a habit and keep paying you. And that's what I found with the food services business. Setting it up from scratch, organically growing, was an absolute bloody ball ache. So I bought Cafe Deli Wholesale. This business, 10 million revenue, big fleet of transport, big freezer warehouses. And I just got rid of all the transport at Rossi Ice Cream, gave that to Cafe Deli, so I immediately gave them another 1 million of revenue. And then I got distribution all around London and the South East at the signing of a piece of paper. And it's going like gangbusters. This was a 35-year-old business. Look, notice the pattern here. 35 years of trading. 10 million plus of revenue. You know, most businesses fail within their first 10 years, only 5% get past their 10-year anniversary. So if you're buying something 35 years old, they had brilliant transport, fantastic supply chain, lots and lots of big wins. So what did I pay for the business? £1.5 million I paid for the business, turning 10 million quid, making around 750,000 profit at the time, paid for that all up front. I got £1 million from HSBC and £500,000 from me. Bada bing, bada boom. That's how I did that deal. Very traditional way of buying a business, using bank finance and your own money. Now that is not an option for most people, and it certainly wasn't the option for me when I started out in business. I had to be way more creative. So I've put this one first, very predictable, very vanilla style of deal. The next one's more creative. When you're building a business, keeping control of spending, especially when you start bringing in employees, shouldn't feel like a second job. Whether it's team lunches, software subscriptions, or travel costs, you need a system that works in real time. And that's why I use Revolut Business in my company's Wholesale. I think it's fantastic. You don't want to be dealing with things week later when the account statement arrives. That's where Revolut Business comes in. You can issue virtual and physical cards to your team in seconds. You can set individual limits and track all instantly from one clean dashboard. That's why I love it, and that's why I use it in my business. It even integrates with your accounting tools like Xero, so you're not chasing receipts or manually matching transactions. Time saver. And if your business operates internationally, you'll benefit from smart currency exchange options built right in. If you're ready to take control of your business spending, sign up to Revolut Business via the link in my bio or by scanning the QR code on this screen before September 30th, 2025. Put some money in your account and you'll receive a £200 welcome bonus. Thank you, Revolut Business. Fees and terms and conditions apply. Now, let's get back to it. The next one was a day nursery business called WizKids Day Nursery in sunny Peterborough. Now, this business was in a financial situation. For those of you that don't know, I'm big into childcare. We've got 10 day nurseries. It's one of my oldest businesses called Twizzletop's Day Nurseries. I saw this amazing building. The predecessor owners, they sort of got in trouble with management, but I could see there was huge potential there because we had the management and the knowledge, the marketing, the training expertise in Twizzletops, and we could rebrand this and become a day nursery. I bought the land, the freehold on the outside. This has actually cost me a lot of money. There's, no money down. There was no money down to buy this because I was buying a problem, but it's probably cost me around 100,000 to refurbish it, closing costs, making redundancies because we've had to start again. Long term, this will be a great deal. There are plenty of deals out there like this where you can buy a problem. They take a lot of effort, a lot of time, not necessarily money, but if you value your time and your time is short, then it's probably best just to go and do those vanilla deals and raise the money. But if you're starting out, there are so many opportunities where there's tired business owners that don't want to run their business anymore. So I took on the company. There was debts in the company that I've had to service and pay back, but I got some freehold land with it. I see this as a £1.3 million revenue business in the next 5 years. making around 350,000 of profit. The reason I did it though is because it would neatly fold into my existing ecosystem, because there was a freehold property available. The reason I put this one next is because I wanted you to see the yin and yang approach. The cafe deli deal, very vanilla, using banks. This one was all my own money, me using my cash flow, me turning it around. Well, not just me, an amazing team as well. Now, the third one I bought was a school holiday activity camp business. In fact, it's one of the largest in the UK. The business is called Camp Beaumont. There's going to be a few little patterns here. Another 30-plus-year-old business. This business is so old, I went to it when I was a kid. It now operates internationally in Singapore, Malaysia and Hong Kong, so it made us become an international business as soon as we signed the contract, making us think bigger and making us think about international opportunities, which I was always coy and shy to do before. So we bought this established business. We bought this business that we could reuse this brand into our existing businesses. Here's the one that I've just done this year. Marsh Farm Animal Adventure Park, my farm attraction. We've put a Camp Beaumont on there. We've also made the business more lean and fit for profitability, because we bought this business solvently, but the parent company went into administration. So we took it from the business that was going bust and we've kept it. That £10 million revenue business that's got 35 years old. It's got an amazing, talented management team, and we're scooping all of that little knowledge, all those golden nuggets into our existing ecosystem. This has got a flipping fantastic future. There's so many things I'm excited about what we can do with this brand. But look for the similarities, gang. Look for the similarities. It folds into ecosystem. It's established. It's got a brilliant cash flow model as well, you know, where you get all your cash up here and then provide the service here. So that means it's really good for cash flow. That's what I also like about Cafe Deli. Most of our customers pay us in advance and then we deliver the goods. That's what I love about day nurseries. Our customers pay us all in advance and then we deliver the goods. There's not a lot of businesses like that. So you want to talk about the money, gang. How did I finance it? Well, I bought the business for nothing. I bought it for £1, and in fact, it had a couple of £100,000 cash flow instantly. But here's the thing, I took on around £1 million worth of debt that I'm having to pay for. I've had to do redundancies, big cost. I've had to restructure the business because it just had too much costs. Yes, I bought it for £1. I took on £1 million worth of debt, but I'm cash flowing that debt out of the cash flow the business is brought up, and I haven't got to find the money myself. I've done lots of deals like this. Obviously, this one was a big one. Now, when I look at businesses now, I don't want to do any £500,000, £1 million turnover businesses. I want to buy the bigger businesses because there is much greater reward when you buy a bigger business. And usually when you buy a bigger business, it's got more talented management team in the business. And that's what really attracted me to Camp Beaumont. I just met the team and I was like, these guys are so fantastic. And it looks like an investment already. And that's the big difference. Do you want to buy a job? Do you want to buy a business? Or do you want to buy something that looks like an investment? The answer is, if you want to buy an investment. The fourth business was this amazing business called Be My Bear. Well, what is it? Well, it's a teddy bear making business, and I already own one of them called the Teddy-tastic Bear Co. And this was my competitor who I admired. They were a fantastic business going 20 years plus. They were in some of the biggest holiday camps and garden centres in the UK, customers that I didn't have. So I was buying the contracts, I was buying the knowledge, I was buying the ecosystem, saving money by putting them into my warehouse so we've got less overheads. So what I was doing here was increasing profitability by saving on overhead. Now, very different about this business. I told you those childcare businesses and Cafe Deli get all their money up here, then deliver the service. Well, what happens here is you do all the work and then you get paid all the money. So you've got to fund loads of stock. You need to get a bank to help you with this. Bit of a nightmare. So how did I find and finance this business? I found it because I knew the owner. She'd seen me speak at other conferences and we've known each other for 3 or 4 years. We were flirting in business terms with Pippa, who owned the business, an amazing entrepreneur that built it up, and then I bought it from her. There was some cash in the bank, so I gave her the cash in the bank and then I used seller finance to pay over a period of time. I've made a video about how I've done all of that as well. When we look at this, what we've done here We've looked at different ways of buying a business. Very vanilla, using a bank to finance it. Buying businesses from administration, taking on the debts and paying over a period of time. Or using vendor or seller financing to buy the business. What you want to do, in my opinion, is try and find positive cash flow businesses where you get paid, then you deliver the service. Unlike Be My Bear, but hey, it's still a brilliant business. You want to find businesses that you can fold into your ecosystem. And you want to think about buying knowledge, predictability, that 10-year rule. Think about this, that most businesses fail in their first 10 years. If you can find the businesses that are over 10 years, that really gives you a competitive advantage. There's another 10-year rule as well. I look for businesses, in this AI world where everyone's worried about AI taking over the world. I think about what's not going to change in 10 years. I still think people are going to want to buy teddy bears in 10 years. I still think people are going to want to buy food and drink in 10 years. I still think people are going to want childcare in 10 years. So my go-to business type is those that are old, tried, tested and proven. You won't get me buying a software as a service company. I like businesses that have been around a long time that I think are still going to be around in a long time. And I suppose the other thing that I've really learned, I sort of touched on it at the beginning of the video, is you need to use creative ways to finance buying a business and then take it out with the bank because they're too slow. You need to get things done. Use private mortgages, use seller financing. Say to them, look, the seller, look, this is the way we can do this quickly. If we use a bank, it could take a year, 18 months, takes forever. So that's why I try and get deals done and then take the deal out with the bank, which might cause you some cash flow pressures in year one because you're aggressively paying things back. But once the bank can see that you're managing the business and that you understand the business, they're much more likely to lend the money to you. Because when you're borrowing from a bank, this is what they look for. Management. Who's managing the business? Is the loan affordable? And is there security? Most people think about, is there security? Yeah, I've got loads of commercial property. I'll just tap a loan onto commercial property. But even then, what the bank are really looking for is, do you know how to run this business? So if you can say, look, I've been running it for a year. I've been running it for 2 years. I've been paying it creatively. Now can you help me out? I think you'll find, I know you'll find, that the answer will then be, yes, we're ready to support you. If you love the idea of buying a business, you've got to knowledge up. Now, there's loads of videos here on my YouTube channel. I urge you to go and watch them. I've done a podcast as well where I talk about it often on my podcast. Go and listen to those. But if you really want to learn, why not come along to my Buying Businesses Masterclass? I run a big event learning how to buy businesses. And I also do Business Masterclass in London, which is a 2-day event that once you've got the business, how do you make it more profitable? I urge you to come along to both. And I think you'll find that they will really excel the growth of the profitability in your business and your chance of success in buying a business. Tickets are only a few £100. And do you know what? Leave your credit cards at home. None of my events you come to, they go, you need to know this next secret, this next upsell to learn how to do this. I give you all the knowledge that I've learned in the last 20 years to accelerate the growth of your business. If you want to get yourself a ticket, why not come along by going to jamessinclair.net, and that's my website, and all the ticket details are on there. I'll also put a link in the video description. And also another big thank you to Revolut Business for sponsoring this video, and bag yourself that £200 welcome bonus. Right, I'll see you in the next one.